It won't be long now until we feature Willie Creighton from the Mayo Woodturners Association. And of course, Willie is the skilled, very, very highly skilled and talented leader and founder of that group. And he'll be talking about their activities this year are ball bug, but just tugamage on sting bug shock on those lovely reels from Pauline Keneally on the banjo.
Tatu Geistach le Midwest Radio, och réile 96.1 FM.
Very gifted and talented and founder member of Craobh Eo, the Mayo Woodturners Association, caught up with him at his workshop in Cashel recently, and he talked about the latest chapter challenge that they had.
Joe, this is a chapter challenge. It's our fourth time entered in the chapter challenge, and we had a bicycle there, the rally bike, which is over in the hospital in the foyer in Castlebar, completely made out of wood. Then last year we had a chess piece and a table and all that. And this year we have a wooden mixer, a replica of the Bell mixer that you see out on a lot of sites, which has the little wheels on it and an engine and the whole lot like that. Now it's completely made out of wood. There's a couple of thousand pieces in it. The drum is segmented and all built up and then turned, and then the handles are made of ash and with an inlay of mahogany, and then you have what turns the drum, we'll call it the starting handle. It's made out of ash and mahogany, and then you have the legs, which is ash and mahogany, and then the wheels and the axle that the drum turns on. And the drum itself, it's threaded with 1.5 inch 6 thread on it, and it can be screwed off the same as a real concrete mixer. Now there was 12 of us involved in it, and it was a collaborative piece, and we had our chairman, which is Sean Foodie. He did part of the frame, and then we had Tom Burke and Sean Marley doing the wheels, and Martin Wilson from Sligo, he did the axle, and Pat O'Malley cut up a lot of all the segments. He lives over there in Castlebar and Belcara. Pat cut the segments, and then he handed them over to me here to turn on the lathe, and it's almost 24 inches in diameter. It's a full size. And then you had three fellas from Ballina. You had Richard Barrett and Pádraig Grealish and David Knox. They did the stand, and Michael Harkin from Charlestown, he did the handles along with Sean Foodie. So there was 12 of us involved, and Sean Foodie then, when it was finished here, he took it up and he put the finishing touches to it, sanded it up and gave it a couple of coats of lacquer. So that's your mixer there, Joe. And then we had a trowel and a float that was made by Sean Marley. He's an ex-telecom man there, and he's not 21 any longer now, but he made a great job of it. And Tom Burke, he's not a young man, is neither, like, and that was the first time attempting the wheels, and the two of them, the pair of them, made the wheels, and I think they did a wonderful job, and I think everybody that was involved with it really put a good effort into it. But we'll be back again with the help of God next year, Joe, for another chapter challenge.
To know when you went to the finals, how many cement mixers were made from wood in the final?
Well, it was funny. There was 6 mixers. There was one from the Sligo chapter, which was a skeleton and a shovel and a pair of old navy boots and an old pipe in his mouth, and a sign up on him, "Rest in peace, Old Faithful." That was the Sligo chapters, they had him moored into a thread, and all that was left was a few bones after down in the trenches in England with his navy shovel. It wasn't the Irish shovel now, it was the navy shovel, which is the short one. It was well worn. So they made the shovel, and they made the pipe, and had the skeleton there. Then we had the Midlands chapter, which had a miniature mixer, which was only about maybe 20 inches in diameter, maybe 20 inches square altogether, and the mixer, the drum itself, was only about maybe 10 inches in diameter. And that was an excellent job. There was a good few involved with that. And then we had Craobh Eo, which is part of the Dublin chapter. There have 3 chapters in Dublin. They had a ready mix truck. Wonderful bit of work on it too. Everything working, the drum and the whole lot. And then we had the boys from the Southeast chapter, the Kilkenny boys. Now, they had a wonderful job. As a matter of fact, I thought they were going to win it because they're always up there first, second or third or whatever, like in this past few years. And they had a ready mix truck, and it was really a work of art. They had even the drum turned on it. Now, the idea behind this was that every bit of it had to be made completely out of wood, and they had a little an engine in it that they plugged in, and the drum turned, but didn't put that in until the show was over, and you could see the drum revolving there, and everybody was amazed at it. And then we had the Limerick chapter. They were the chapter that won the competition. They had the 4-wheel mixer that you see out on sites, and it was made from beech and walnut, and they had little Byrnes in the back, and they had they were all winners in their own right. Like, it's about taking part, I suppose. Everyone couldn't be a winner, but we were their runners up, and sure, look at we'll be back again with the help of God next year, and come Byrne, I'm sure Joseph.
Well, here's Willie. You're a bit like the Mayo team, Willie.
Yeah.
Almost there,
but just can't get across the line. But Chuck your law, our day will come someday. So next year's chapter challenge is a fun fair or a roundabout or whatever you'd see, and it'll be a scale model. So we're working on that. We have sort of plans in place for that. Now, this mixer went a bit late, and it was a bit of a panic to get it finished, but hopefully we'll get this fun fair up and running, and we might be just get over the line next year with the help of God.
The various parts of this beautiful wood-turned cement mixer, Willie. Just to make a bit, that's it, just for the listeners. Explain what you're doing now.
I'm turning the drum here. It runs freely, and if you had a mix of white sand and cement, you could throw it into it and she wouldn't belong tossing it out, because originally when the mixers came out, the vintage mixers, if you looked them up, and everyone is on Google today, but they were turned by hand just the way this one is turned. So you can hear it ticking over there, Joe, nice and steady like that, and there'll be no problem to throw out a mix, and it's running as free as could be, completely made out of wood. So we have to get a home for this now, and I was on to a few different outfits that's into concrete, Malloy Concrete in Ballina. He's interested in it, and I have to bring it down to him. Brian Malloy there, he is a big concern out there in the Church Road, and he was very impressed when he saw the photographs of it, so maybe he might put his hand in his pocket and open up the old purse and throw us a few pound. It'll go towards the Craobh Eo Centre in Ahamore. So
excellent, William. You were turning that there for the benefit of the listeners with a beautiful wooden handle, and you were turning it by hand yourself.
Yes. Well, actually, it was Sean Foodie that made the handle. We had a lot of different ideas about handles and things like that. So we came up with this idea that we just put an order. We're on about cog wheels and everything, and it got a bit complicated, and we were running out of time. So Sean said we'd put a handle on it, and it's just like it'd be. You could nearly churn milk within in this if you put a lid on it. It's that smooth. Yeah. So you can hear it there, nice and steady like that, and no need to grease it. It's completely made out of wood. You can see how free it's running there.
Excellent, Willie. Tell me about the beautiful small wheels that are here, which would be used to demount the mixer from the frame you have, and then wheel it round the place.
Yeah, well, actually, when we decided to make this, the first night we went up to the schoolhouse in Ahamore, that's our Craobh Eo's, the Woodturners centre, and hadn't we a blackout? We had no power, and we had a mixer there, and we were going round in circles, and they were running for flash lamps and everything. So I said, I don't think the power is off blowing Winnie Morgan. So I said, maybe if we go down and we'll ask Winnie, can we get into the pub with the mixer? And there was a good few boys there at the bar that said, what's going on here? Are you going to put on a bit of an extension out the back? And we had the mixer, a brand new Bell mixer, and we were measuring it up and taking measurements and planning how we were going to make it. So when we came down there, there was must be 20 or 30 of us down that night in Morgan's, and we measured up the mixer, and we were saying who's going to make what, and different fellas said they'd make this part and that part, but Tom Burke and Sean Marley, now they're not really, they're Woodturners now, because they came here to me a few years back for classes, and like a lot of people that'll come for classes, I won't be able to do this and I won't be able to do that, and if you put your mind to it, you can do anything. Like, so Tom and Sean took on the task of making the wheels, and we gave them about putting the tyres on it and one thing and another, and planned out how it should be made. And I said to Tom, sure, you'll have no problem making that little wheel. It's only 12 inches in diameter. And sure, I said, look at the wheel of the bicycle that we made over in Castlebear, I said, and it was a 28-inch wheel. Sure, it's only child's play to you, Tom. You're such a great man at the turning now. So Tom and Sean, they went into Donlands and Clamars and they got timber, and I was explaining to him about the tyre, how now it's not an iron tyre, it's made out of mahogany, and the wheel is made out of ash, and the spokes are made out of ash, and the hubcap is made out of mahogany. And Tom was finding it awful hard how he could put a tyre on it, so he decided, I said to him, if you get a nice piece of mahogany about 14 inches in diameter, and you cut a disc out of it and you turn your wheels, you'll be able to push the tyre in over it, and that's it. And by God, Tom turned up one night and he had two magnificent wheels for him, and that was the start of it. So that's how the wheels came about. Then we had two men in Ballina, three actually, David Knox and Richard Barrett and Paula Grealish. Now, Richard Barrett is into engineering, and but he's a talented man. I'd say he could turn his hand. He does a bit of blacksmithing, and he's doing engineering there in Ballina. Does a lot of work like that, and he took on the job of making the stand for it. So he measured up the stand, and there was planning how it was going to be made, and every fellow was throwing their pennies worth into it, how it was going to be sorted out. But he went away, and Martin Wilson down in Beltra, he's a Sligo man, and he's our treasurer of the guild, of our chapter, and he said that he'd get the ash for them, so he got it down in a place called down in Screen, by Bosco or Burke's Stairs, and he supplied the ash, and they went about and they came back with a stand. So we had to shape up and start making the drum and the frame. And the other thing about the mahogany is I was working on the cathedral with O'Malley's and Sons and Gertrude's in Ballina, and had a couple of planks of mahogany over in, like, the old funds is low enough, over a voluntary organisation. And I said to Micheál O'Malley, I said, Micheál, you have a couple of old planks there. I said, you might donate them to us for making this mixer. And by God, he gave us 3 lovely planks of mahogany. And other than that, it'd be costing us a fair bit to make this, because timber isn't cheap now. As a matter of fact, it's nearly gone out of hand altogether, the price, because it's not native ash or mahogany. This is American ash, and it's Sapili mahogany, which is fairly expensive. So I'll have to thank Micheál O'Malley and Ballina, because the drum, there was a fair bit of mahogany in it, so it's great. And as Ted Mahan said to me one time, he said, when you have a tongue in your head and open your mouth, it's amazing what you can get. Then Martin Wilson made the axle there for it, and it's bowed right through, and there's an inch shaft going through it, and that's what the wheels. And the drum actually turns off this mixer, Joe. You can screw the drum off. I made the drum, and Pat O'Malley made the segments, cut up all the segments, and I started here because I have the lathe here. It's called a one-way. It's a Canadian lathe, and it was able to take that size. There wasn't an eighth of an inch to spare. So the shaft is threaded on. It's 1.5 inch 6 thread, and it's thread with taps and dies, the same as you would tap a bit of steel or anything like that. And it's amazing what you can do when you put your mind to it. And Sheilun go well on Rudda to Ginta Summit on Rudda's Far. So that's your mixer, Joe.
Wonderful music from the marvellous band Full Set, and one of the multi-instrumentalists in the band we heard there on accordion and Chilahort and flute is Marion Carney Knight from my own native order in Hamor, and the lovely tunes we heard, the reels in and out from the